Hindi, speaks
A lot of the citizens speak multiple.
So he has a harder time understanding Hindi, but he can understand it. He can speak it. So anyway, his entire family obviously speaks Gujarat. That's the language. They're from that state, and that's just what they think.
But they live here.
So when he lives here. His family lives in India. But when he grew up, where he grew up in Gujarat, they were told in school, like the Pakistanis right over there. And he was like, oh, send me a link. So I sent him a link or whatever, and he did it. And his family.
I thought it was India, Pakistan.
Yeah, so Punjab is like right up there against the border with,
Which is the west.
with Pakistan.
That's the west.
Well, west, that's what I meant to be saying. Was I saying?
Okay, you said east, I said
I did
west.
say.
Okay, I knew I was right for once.
No, you were right. I don't know what I was thinking. In my head, I was looking.
It's complicated.
I don't know my west from my east.
But it's complicated when you're looking at west and east, like especially in Russia and China.
So here's Punjab,
Right.
here's Pakistan,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
And Gujarat is right there.
Yes.
Oh.
So these people hate all these people.
Okay.
But why do they hate the Punjabis?
Just because.
They're not
Because
Muslim.
they're bad enough. They're up there and
They
they're
just
fighting.
got screwed because they used to live in
Yeah.
Pakistan. So
It's regional.
somehow I have ancestry from that region of people that he hates.
Yeah. No, I don't. He's a very open-minded,
Imagine
not
my
hateful
father
person.
when I told him I was going to go to Notre Dame.
But I think it was more of a concern for, right, it was more of a concern for, like, what's going to happen when I tell my parents, because he's like, well, I'm what my parents are. So when I tell my parents, we're obviously, like, when did we cover this up? Because clearly, and I was like, well, I mean, the fact is, probably there's more people in Gujarat who are from Pakistan. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, there's probably just a lot more people who don't know that, or they're closer to it. Well, it only takes one generation. It only takes one or two generations to say, like, we're not what we are. Don't tell anybody that. We all come from here. Okay.
Prince William did his DNA and he's got the same thing I have. Somebody in the royal family had a friend in India.
Well, Trump is Swedish. Right.
Read something this week about his grandfather being kicked out of the country, kicked out of Germany for refusing to. I forget why.
They were aware enough that the Nazis were bad that they distanced themselves. That's why they're the Trumps.
They do what's expedient.
In World War II, it was not good to be seen as German. During World War II in America, and it's not good to be seen as
But
German.
his father was still a racist. So you got to assume his German grandfather was. But his German grandfather did something with the military that got him kicked out of the country. Because they were saying that no Trump has ever served in the
He
military.
was just a dodger.
Something like
That
that.
he was
The decree banishing his grandfather after he failed to do military service.
There you go.
Right,
He was a
see,
dodger.
that's the thing. That the one guy said no Trump has ever served in the military. So he's incapable of understanding a selfless.
Service Act.
Well, that's what he says. Yeah, he says they're more interested in duty than they are in the economy and all this. And it's like, well, that's because they're soldiers. Like, that's...
Well, who's that? Oh, Duckworth. Tammy Duckworth. She calls him Cadet Bone Spurs. Because she said...
Calls him what?
Cadet Bone Spurs.
Oh, okay.
Because he likes to talk about having gone to military school. So he was a cadet. That's the highest, she said the other day, that's the highest rank he ever accomplished.
Lying to the public and saying, oh, it's just the flu, it's nothing else. And it's so striking because of course he will continue it. Whether it'll make a difference in the election, we don't know at this point. But this is people's lives and their livelihoods here that he's playing with. And I think it may be accepted differently by the American public.
You know, Carl, when former FBI Director Comey, James Comey, was testifying before the Senate Intelligence Committee back in 2017, he was asked about Trump's tweet suggesting that Comey should hope there aren't tapes of their conversations, Comey responded saying, "Oh Lordy, I hope."
Well, no, I'm here for pink.
Maybe this time of the year.
Well, no, this is pink.
He was working for General Mattis. He was at a meeting in the Oval Office about a trade deal. And just to tell you what he said he heard was he goes to General Mattis and he says, the president said, my effing generals are a bunch of, you can read it up on the screen. They care more about their alliances than they do about trade deals.
I'm assuming that word is not taxi.
Yeah, exactly. General Mattis, then Defense Secretary Mattis, he wasn't born yesterday. He says to his aide, he listens to the story and he says, would you mind writing me an email about that? So he memorializes it in real time. Knowing Bob Woodward, he may very well have a copy of that email.
There were some brutal assessments of Trump's presidency from probably many of the post-brutal from many of his former top national security officials, former Defense Secretary James Mattis, we talked about.
As saying that Trump was dangerous, unfit, has no moral compass.
In December? That doesn't make
And
sense.
this is the story about Defense Secretary Mattis at the time. He was so worried that the United States might get into a hot war with
1 year old?
Korea. Woodward recounts these extraordinary scenes where Dan Coates, then the top intelligence official, director of national intelligence, one of the most shocking things that Woodward writes about is that Dan Coates held suspicions that Russia had something on President Trump. And I just want to read a quick part of this. Woodward writes, Coates continued to harbor the secret belief, one that had grown